Update and conclusion to Opus 28F. Feels ready to leave her husband, 42M. I am not op. This update has been posted 9 months after the last one. Original post by you. Where's the coffee bro on our relationships has since been deleted by mods. Here's a link to the original BORU post and the first update. Newest update at the bottom. Large text split into paragraphs for readability. Mood spoiler. Happy. Less than. Trigger warnings. None. Less than. Original. I. 28F. Feel like I'm ready to leave my marriage to my husband. 42M. Posted on January 5, 2022. Edit. Thank you all for the overwhelming support and kindness. Means so much. Second edit. I just found out he lost his job. And my gut is telling me he's not being entirely truthful or is insanely downplaying as to why he got fired. Now he wants to move down here with me. I 100% do not want him to. My husband and I have been together for around 8 years and married for a little over a year. We met during work. I felt like he was the one for me at the time, but red flags started showing up very quickly. I am a plus-sized woman and can be very insecure at times, and he has never once made me feel any better. He has only made me feel worse. Once when he was spending the night at my apartment when we first started dating, he told me, "It's okay. You can lose weight." The real kicker is he said this when he thought I was asleep. I told him I heard him months later. He made up excuses. I tried to forgive him, but the words still sting. The most recent issue is that I was offered a much higher position at my work. This required me to move a few hours away from where we were living and to a different state. This wasn't something I took lightly, and I had discussed it with him prior to even applying for the position. Side note. I was asked to apply for this job, so the chances of me getting it were very high. When I asked him if he would be willing to move and look for work there, he said yes. So I applied. While I was waiting to hear back, he decided to apply for a job locally that was better than his current position. I thought it was totally fine. It was a better opportunity, and if I didn't get this job it would be a good fit. However, I got the job. I took the job as soon as I was offered it because he had already said he was excited and willing to move. Turns out his plans had changed without him talking to me. He ended up getting the other job and was suddenly completely fine living apart from me, without discussing long distance with me at all. I'm happy he got the job, but I'm mad he didn't even look for work near me or try and be with me. I have been living alone for around 5 months and he hasn't kept a single promise he gave me. He hasn't called often. He barely talks to me, and when he does, all he really does is complain. And he doesn't visit me often, even though I'm only 4 hours away. I don't expect him here every week, but I have now visited him more times than he has visited me. He constantly makes up excuses for why he can't visit, and went as far to say that I should visit twice in a row because I could only visit 2 days due to how busy I am with work. The thing that I can't get over is the fact he didn't even really try to see me on Christmas. He and I both worked, but he didn't bother to try and make it up that weekend. Eventually I just told him don't bother. There are so many other issues I could list with our sex life. How he watches porn constantly, but our sex life is almost non-existent. How I feel more like a mother than a wife. How he will always side with others rather than me. But it would be too long of a post. I think a huge reason I am staying in this relationship is because I am deathly afraid of being alone. Thank you if you took the time to read this all. Advice is welcome or just words of encouragement. TLDR. I think I might be ready to consider leaving my husband, who decided he was okay with a long-distance relationship when I wasn't. First update. I, 28F. Feel like I'm ready to leave my marriage to my husband. 42M. Posted on February 3, 2022. Link to original post. https www.reddit.com/r/relationships/comments/rwcpxl/I28f feel like I am ready to leave my marriage to UTM. Source equals share in UTM, medium equals web2x, and context equals 3. Here is a little update to those of you who wanted one. First of all, I would like to say thank you for all the kind words and genuine advice. Though it was all things I had heard before, it made a massive difference hearing it from strangers who don't even know me. All of that and my friends giving me some tough but much needed love. I finally got the courage to talk to my husband. Not long after I posted my original post, my husband called me to tell me he had ended up losing the job he abandoned me for. He doesn't have a good track record with work. Just in general has been seen as lazy, etc. So this wasn't shocking but was a complete slap in the face. Maybe I'm being harsh, but I felt let down again. As soon as he lost the job, he immediately started talking about how he was going to move in with me. I became sick to my stomach because I did not want him here. I felt and still feel like a fallback option. I wasn't his priority in the first place, but now that he is down on his luck, it's just easier for him to move here and start over with my help. I told him to not look at jobs here right away and look where he is. And he somewhat agreed. After about a week of us not talking, he messaged me out of nowhere telling me that he had found a job in my area that was a great opportunity. He used the same wording he had used with the job he had just lost. I was talking with a friend when he sent the message. She told me point blank, talk to him now, or he is going to show up on your doorstep and you are going to be stuck in this situation for another few years. And you promised yourself you would talk to him this week. She was 100% right. So I went and talked to him. I told him everything. How I felt. How I am feeling. How heartbroken I am. How his issues and his treatment of me have pushed me over the edge. He realized that a lot of what I said was things I had already brought up. He did own up to some things. Yet not everything. I had given him a million chances during the conversation to tell me the things I should improve on. Because I am well aware I am not blameless. I should have talked to him more, etc. The only thing he could think of was the fact that I don't participate in sex with him. I brought up my issues with sex and my insecurities. He said he understood, but I don't think he understood how much it affected me. From my past trauma and other bad experiences. And how he never made me feel better. I then brought up how I hate how much porn he watches. Side note, I don't hate porn. I just think excessive use can be bad. And how it gave him an unrealistic expectation of sex. He said, I feel like I have to watch it to get turned on to have sex with you. That comment made my stomach drop. And my already low self-confidence deep dive even lower. Also, I knew this was a complete lie, as he never initiated sex after watching porn, not once. I knew right then I was done. How could I even consider repairing this when he feels like he needs to watch other people to get turned on enough to have sex with me? Mind you, he would casually watch porn without jerking off or anything. This man always had porn open like a Spotify playlist. He is trying desperately to keep me, messaging me constantly how much he loves me, making YouTube playlists of songs, sending me flowers, etc. But it's all too little, too late in my eyes. He's also downplaying the situation to his closest friends and family, just chalking it up to me being upset with him. All of this just makes me more upset, anxious, on edge, and quite frankly mad. I already started filling out paperwork to file for divorce when I am 100% ready, and will be asking him to stop texting me as much, particularly all the lovey-dovey out of character stuff, and sending me things this week. This whole thing has been a lot, But I am grateful for everyone who took the time to send me words of encouragement. I have realized, and am continuing to realize, my self-worth, and I know I am worth so much more than a man who never tried in our whole 8 years of a relationship up until now. There's more I could get into, but I think I'll leave it here. Thank you all again for all your kind words and advice. Feel free to comment on the original post if you'd like to say anything, or would like to give words of wisdom or advice. TL. Doctor. I finally talked to my husband about everything and will be leaving him soon. Thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. New update. Update and conclusion. Posted on our Mark Narrations November 19th, 2022. 9 months after the previous post. You had been so kind and nice about your advice on my post. I, 28F, feel like I'm ready to leave my marriage to my husband. 42M. In regards to me finally taking the steps to separate and divorce from my husband. Well, I have great news and wanted to share the final conclusion. Well, everyone, this is my last and final update on this. After almost months and even weeks of simply not communicating with each other, I got a text from him out of the blue. He stated that he was in a tough spot financially and needed help, particularly with some car repairs that had popped up. Now, if you've read my last posts, then you wouldn't be surprised to find out that I knew that these issues with his car were not a surprise and more something being put off until it became too late. Regardless, I was livid and upset at reading this message after months and weeks of no correspondence. I had given up on messaging or calling since I felt that I was the only one reaching out, or just simply checking in. So I messaged him just that. I told him how upsetting it was to only hear from him when he needed something, or when things got to a point where he needed help. His response, unsurprisingly, was to say he did try and reach out to me, but that I refused to meet or talk. Not true. And how long was he going to be punished for everything? That he thought he was making a good effort. All the flowers, etc. He even goes as far to say that the job he had and was fired from was similar if not harder than mine. Not that it was a competition to begin with, and that by job allows me more freedom to pick and choose my time off. Which both of those statements could not have been farther from the truth. He just kept making up excuses as to why his job went wrong. And honestly, the rest of his message rambled on about wanting to talk once a week, and to let go of uncommunicated expectations. Mind you, this was all in one text message. And in response to me saying no to giving him money and why I wouldn't give him the money. Did I mention he was asking for up to $3,000? My response, despite my rage, was diplomatic. At least I felt it was. And I owned up to my mistakes in regards to our relationship. At the end of it, I simply just said, the reality is, I'm not making my future plans on us being together. He only replied by thanking me for my honesty and if he could have time to think and process the information. Mind you, he's had months. Over a year, in fact. At this point, I said fine. A month passes by and he tells me he finally got a job, which I was really happy to hear. We made awkward small talk before I had to get on with the things I was doing that day. Finally, once things calmed down for me with my work trips and my planned vacations, I contacted a lawyer a couple weeks ago and asked him all the questions I had to start the process of divorce. I called my husband and we talked, and I finally said it was time for us to be honest with each other and realize it was time to end our marriage officially. To my surprise, he agreed and was pretty calm and diplomatic about it all. This past week I talked with my lawyer and we started the process officially. I've paid all the fees, and now just wait for it to be official. Thank you to everyone who gave their support and advice throughout this whole process. Means a lot that a group of complete strangers could be so supportive. Side note, I'm exercising at least twice a week now with a personal trainer. Trying to gain my self-confidence and slightly get that post-divorce revenge bod. Haha, let's be honest. TL. Doctor. Finally getting the divorce, just waiting for it to be legally official. Friendly reminder that I am not op. This is a repost. I am immediately struck by the fact she was 20 and he was 34 when they started dating. Good on her for finally escaping. Good news for Oop. Deadbeat husband found a new victim to sponge off of, so he decided to let Oop go. Bad news for some insecure young woman with a good job in OOP's old town. Deadbeat husband found a new victim to sponge off of, so he decided to let Oop go. Porn open in the background like a Spotify playlist. Ew. Ugh. I had an ex with a porn addiction once and he said exactly the same thing when I called him out on it. I have to watch it to get turned on for you. Which wasn't true because he was so into porn he never thought about actual sex. Is this like a playbook for porn addiction? Do they all say that? I'm not talking about casual porn, but full-blown addiction. Men well into 30s. Meeting 20-year-old women. I'm young and full of life. The women my age are wizened old crones and can't keep up with me. They're not sexy and fun like you, baby. The reality. And I realize Oop's husband 34's actually pretty young when they met. But while it gets more pronounced for men in their 40s and beyond, 30s dudes still trot out the above rhetoric. He's so much older than her, but he sounds like a failure. Good riddance. That guy was either cheating or got fired for sexual harassment, assault. I have high hopes for Oop. I kinda wanna be nosy about how they're doing just because they deserve so much for putting up with that hot mess. Me, seeing the age gap, and I Oop eyes. So this man wants her to take more time off work and make professional sacrifices for their relationship. But he also wants Oop to pay his bills and expensive car repairs at the drop of a hat. Make it make sense, please, weary. I am not surprised. I bet he had an affair partner but it didn't work out, so he tried to mooch off Oop again. Ugh. I hope she gets counseling. BC, she did everything she could to put herself in this situation. She's a victim. Absolutely. But she's also afraid of confrontation, bad at communicating, and has deep-seated issues that she needs professional help to get past. I hope she doesn't end up in this same situation in 2 years. Good grief. I hope Oop sheds that 42 years old excess weight and is far happier by herself. Her ex is appalling. And they got together 8 years ago? When she was 20 and he was 34. Ugh. He was just using her as a place to stay, store his stuff, and a bank to bang to pay things he can't afford instead of treating her like genuine person. Hence why he was so quick to divorce as of last update, because she stopped giving him money while purposely living apart from him as per whatever is their state, county, province rules for divorce laws. Wish Oop all the best in living the best life ever after getting out of that abusive situation with her loser ex. Good on Oop for finally yeeting the trash out of her life. Posts like this make me angry and sad. Obviously we aren't there for every part of their relationship. But how can you marry someone who makes you feel so unloved? Rhetorical question. I know how. And then for her to not immediately be planning divorce at that first post? She should have dropped him a long time ago. Hopefully she can be happier without him now. I can't afford to fix your car. I'm saving for a divorce attorney. My heart just hurt for Op all the way through. Before she even got the job elsewhere, I was already rooting for a divorce. When he didn't move with her, I was waiting for her to say it was over. To get to a point where you are still legally attached and debating splitting from a guy and you've barely spoken in months? Poor gal.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.